Nigeria, the educational sector is seen to be the bedrock of development of the society. However, it has suffered neglects in the past, such as poor infrastructure, lack of quality teachers, amongst others. While government at all levels has evolved strategies and policies towards improving the education sector, development partners have continued to complement efforts of government as well. And in Benue State, the current administration has continued to carry out interventions such as renovation of classroom blocks, recruitment and training of teachers to enhance productivity, amongst others. What are some of the factors militating against quality education in the society? How can this be tackled? This is our focus on Panorama today, reaching you live from NTA Network Center, Makurdi. I am Fatima Hassan. But first, the news of the day. President Bola Tinubu says his administration is now positioned to continue to reward Nigerians with social, economic, and infrastructural development after the period of hardship they have persevered at the initial stage of the mandate. President Tinubu gave the assurance in Lagos at the inauguration of the Phase 1, Section 1 of Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and other completed roads and bridges projects across Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab reports.
The journey of 750 kilometers has started with the first step of 30 kilometers completed. This is the Phase 1, Section 1 of the stretch. Day or night, the 6-lane Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road at this distance is now open to road users along the bank of the Atlantic Ocean. It is a proud project of a renewed hope agenda, and the man who tamed the Atlantic in Nigeria continues his daring along the coastline.
To God be all the glory.
One of the 4 legacy road projects is becoming a reality. The hitherto unthinkable is happening, and leaders from public and private sectors were present, proudly associating for the beginning of a new corridor of opportunities. And President Bola Tinubu says this is just the beginning of a series of infrastructural developments coming under his watch to lift the social and economic sectors.
You'll be part of the benefit. The economy is recovering. There's light at the end of the tunnel now. Inflation is stepping down.
And for the continuation of the coastal highway and other projects, President Tinubu has a message for developers.
Let me at this stage warn all developers. The federal government will enforce the setback. If not for anything, it's for the interests of our nation. Development without approval will not be compensated. We have gazetted and published the setback. We are going to enforce it rigidly.
I want to state that we did no harm to landmark, properties. In fact, as you are going, sir, you will see where this dual carriageway divided into 2. It's by your order that we should save as much infrastructure as possible, even though they violated the gazetted route.
The president also inaugurated over 9 projects across the country, including rehabilitation of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway, Section 3, dualization of the East-West Road, Section 2, and rehabilitation, construction, and expansion works on Lagos-Ibadan Dual Carriageway, Phase 1.
These are all projects that have the potential to unlock the economic opportunities of their nation.
He equally flagged off 3 new projects of Ibadan, Ife, Ilesha, Akure Bini Road, Nembe Brass Section 2 Road in Bayelsa, and a section of the Enugu-Onitsha carriageway.
I can confirm once again that with this commissioning today, you have proven to us that whenever the National Assembly says we are doing well, we are always right. So congratulations, Mr. President. People may be asking, why are you commissioning the first 30 kilometers? I think we are doing this to bring to the fore that yes, indeed, the project is a reality, because it's divided into about 6 sections.
The actualization of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway continues in sections. Right now, construction has commenced from the other end of the highway in Calabar. Those are the Section 3A and 3B. More sections are expected to be completed by December this year. In Lagos, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
On infrastructural development to accelerate regional development and national integration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has successfully completed a majority of long-abandoned infrastructural projects in the Niger Delta within the first 2 years of his tenure. Minister of Regional Development Abubakar Momo disclosed this while giving assessment of achievements made so far in the region since the beginning of the present administration. Ekene Undulue reports.
For decades, the Niger Delta region had been a cradle of wealth and a theater of neglect. But in the first 2 years of President Tinubu's administration, that narrative apparently has begun to change. Minister of Regional Development narrates how the once stalled Benue Bridge now spans the Akwa Ibom River, linking communities in Akwa Ibom State. In Bayelsa, the Obuanembe Road, once a dream on paper, is now a lifeline of asphalt. He says these are few among numerous other projects.
Yokutikpa electricity, which has been abandoned for more than 50 years, serving up to 5 local governments. That project was completed and delivered. And also the Ogbia Nebe Road in Bayelsa, about 25 kilometers, which was abandoned for a very long time, was also completed.
Abubakar Momo noted that the peace witnessed in the Niger Delta region today is as a result of numerous empowerment programs for the people of the region.
Most of the communities have been solarized, both by the NDDC and the ministry, a number of solar projects. And of course, from there, they call Operation Light Up the Niger Delta, where, as I'm talking to you, as at February, we had about 104,000 solar lights that have been constructed and completed by the Niger Delta.
With the coming up of regional development commissions for other regions, projects will be equitably distributed and perceived imbalances addressed, the minister says. Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Provincial Authority NTA is repositioning its zonal centers to produce content that will attract more audience, as well as aggressive framework to meet its mandate in a competitive media space. To achieve this, Zonal Director, NTA Network Center Makurdi, Pam Dunyam, engages general managers, producers and marketers from Lafia, Jalingo and Makurdi to strategize in driving the initiative. Bekisu Umar Guruku reports.
A paradigm shift for programs and marketing strategies in the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Producers and marketers under NTA Makurdi Network Center met in Lafia to identify framework for implementation of the new vision. The target is to ensure greater relevance of NTA, efficiency and sustainability of the organization in the evolving broadcast environment. Under the new drive, each zonal center is to establish a zonal coordination desk for production of news and programs, develop zonal marketing blueprints, as well as launch zonal exchange program for key NTA personnel. Also, all zones are expected to develop digital-first content to grow the organization's social media platforms. Director General of NTA, in a message, tasked zonal centers to sweep into action and drive the innovation to fulfill the organization's mandate and ensure excellence.
The broadcast industry is evolving, and so NTA cannot remain stagnant when things have changed in the broadcast industry. But this particular meeting is actually intended to draw attention of staff to the fact that we need to be relevant.
Participants described the initiative as though towards enhancing the station in line with media best practices. Earlier, the delegation visited the Musra State Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, a former staff of NTA, to intimate him on the prospects towards achieving national integration through broadcasting. In Lafia, Bilkisu Umar Gurku, NTA News.
Panorama will continue after this break. Stay tuned. Thanks for being there with us. No society develops without an effective and viable educational system, and as such, government and stakeholders must give adequate attention to the sector. In this report, our correspondent Moses Ajau Ode examines efforts of government at promoting education in Benue State.
Despite the effort of successive administration in addressing challenges of infrastructural decay and manpower insufficiency at the public primary schools in Benue State, the challenges is said to have persisted, posing major drawbacks in academic performance. It is in response to these challenges that the Benue State government, in collaboration with relevant agencies, re-strategize with eyes on the ball towards challenging the narrative.
I want to thank them for renovating our school, for providing boreholes, story buildings, and marker board.
According to the Executive Secretary, Benue State Universal Education Board, Grace Adagba, the transformation being recorded in the sector is deliberate, as it is in line with the administration's core mandate.
Are coming back. I've received more than 50 interstate applications that want to come back and teach in Benue State because their peers were the highest paid teachers in the state, in the country right now. Director General, Benue State Bureau for Quality Assurance, Tina Francis, assures the people of consolidating on the effort of the suburb and setting the pace in the control and regulation of standards at the secondary and tertiary education levels.
If you look at the key performance indicators, we are able to measure the success that the work we are putting in through intense monitoring and evaluation and ensuring standards is beginning to yield results.
In Makudi, Moses Ajau Udi, NTA News.
Joining us in the studio to talk more on enhancing the educational sector in the nation is Engineer Tepase Kundam. He is an educational consultant. Thanks for joining us on Panorama.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Talking about enhancing the educational development in the country, we all know that in different countries, the educational standards varies. But UNESCO has come up with a standard that is supposed to be used as a measure worldwide. So looking at the UNESCO standards, do you think as a nation we have met up with that standard?
Yes, to a very large extent. Let me just talk about two things here. First and foremost, the standard summarized as SDGs 4. This is actually a plan to ensure that by 2030, at least 95% of catchment areas have education, useful education. And I think to some extent, looking at what they have done, we have measured very well in this SDG 4. Nigeria's Fast Track, a program created by Nigeria to ensure SDG 4 works, has won the Confucius Award of UNESCO 2024. And that is actually landmark because it means Nigeria has worked closely to the ideals of UNESCO.
Okay.
Secondly, there is this TVET that they created, technology, vocational, and education training, which Nigeria is also following very well with. I think Nigeria has gone well with UNESCO.
Okay. So from what you just mentioned now, it looks like we are actually getting there. But I still want you to analyze the focus, the central message of the UNESCO standard, which projects that every learner goes to school to learn to know, to learn to do, to learn to live together, to learn to know, that's to achieve, to acquire knowledge, to learn to do is to achieve, acquire skills. Do you think as a nation we have achieved that, looking at our educational system?
Well, yes, like I said, we're getting on well along these lines. Of course, there are a few things that need to be done. One of the things UNESCO has stipulated, which I think Nigeria needs to work more towards, is their funding. Because whatever happens, if there is not enough funding, what we have said they are saying we should do and what we have done so far would leave a very huge gap. Funding, as far as UNESCO is concerned, is also very crucial. You know, they have indicated that budgets should be about 15 to 20% education. And remember, 2025 budget of Nigeria was just about 3%, about 4 trillion out of about 48 trillion. So to this extent, I would like to say, yes, we have done much, but some of these impediments that needed to be addressed need to be as quickly as we can. Nigeria has a very wide area to cover in this respect. We are getting on, like I said before, but I want to say there is a little more push to be made to this extent.
Okay, so what do you think, concerning the budget? What can be done to, it's obvious now that it's the responsibility of the government to see that the appropriate budget is being put in place to develop the educational sector in Nigeria. So aside those budgets, what other impediments do we, do that are holding back the development of our educational sector?
One of those is teacher quality. And it's one of the things that UNESCO also is particular about, teacher quality. If you are going to have desired education and there is no motivated, properly trained teacher, you can't have it. We have a very funny thing in this country. They say teachers' reward is in heaven. I don't know where they got that from, because the honor of heaven, Jesus Christ was speaking in Matthew chapter 19, verse 24. So he said, if you sacrifice this much, you get in this life, and in the life to come, eternal life. We have allocated the reward of teachers in heaven, and they are treated here in such a way that delivery is becoming a challenge. I want to think that one of the impediments we have to solve is teacher quality, teacher motivation. One other thing that is there is, we need a safe environment. Some places, people are no longer traversing. Children can go to school. Security is critical for education. Also, we cannot underestimate or overemphasize the value of data acquisition and usage in our education system. These three need to be done.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that you have mentioned some of these challenges, I think top on the list is the teachers' quality. Do you think intervention by UBEC in collaboration with state government has improved the quality of education in the country? Because I think that is one of their major areas that they look at, the quality of the teachers.
Yes, UBEC has done a lot in teacher training and trainer programs. They have done a lot in that respect. And more of it needs to be done, because I think somewhere along the line, for Benue State in particular, there was a wrong submission of teacher-to-student ratio. So we don't even have enough teachers. You go to some schools, it's only one teacher that is there, and that's the principal. It's there for everything. Now, we need more teachers, so we need more training of good teachers to be sent into the field, and there should be an equitable distribution of deployment of teachers, because
to all the schools.
Yes,
okay.
to all the schools, and
let me
yes.
just you said an equitable distribution of teachers to all the schools.
Yes.
So what do you think is the problem concerning some teachers not wanting to go to certain local government areas to teach?
That is where I think government will need to look into, because the UBEC government intervention has to some extent covered. So if encouragement is there, motivation is there, I think they'll go.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Tepase Kundam, for joining us on Panorama today.
Thank you.
Moving on with the news is our sports update. Nigerian Television Authority to always maximize regular exercises for enhanced staff productivity. Details and more. Let's join Suleiman Musa on Sports Updates.
The Nigerian Television Authority has reiterated more support to regular exercises for its staff to help keep them fit for their daily duties. General Manager, NTA International Oganya Simon, stated this when NTA joined other federal establishments in the monthly FEPSGA walk and jog exercise held at the training pitch of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. NTA, who has always participated in the regular Keep Fit exercise, came in their numbers with staff to engage in regular exercises to improve workplace productivity.
It's good to work hard. We can never joke with our health. Health is wealth, and a healthy workforce will surely enhance productivity. This initiative is good. At our own level at NTA, I wish we can do it more regularly.
To football, the Nigerian Super Eagles are still basking in the euphoria of their win in the final of the 2025 Unity Cup, edging out Jamaica in a dramatic penalty shootout after a 2-2 draw in regulation time. Nigeria took the lead through forward Moses Simon, who converted a well-placed cross from Cyril Desire, but Reggae Boys responded almost immediately, with Kahim Dizon netting the equalizer. With no further goals in regulation time, the match proceeded to penalties, where the Super Eagles held their nerve to secure the win. This triumph marks it Nigeria's second consecutive Unity Cup title and a motivation for the Eagles, as securing a World Cup ticket remains a topmost priority. Still on football, Paris Saint-Germain produced a masterclass to thrash Inter Milan 5-0 to lift their first ever Champions League trophy in Munich. Brilliant teenager Desire inspired the Paris side with a top-notch skills to confirm himself as a new superstar in Luis Enrique's side to cap a successful campaign. The win ensured PSG end the season with a treble, as Inter Milan finished the season without a single trophy and a worst Champions League final performance. And finally, three-time champion Novak Djokovic defeated Australian qualifier Filip Misolic in straight set to set up a fourth-round meeting with Britain's Cameron Norrie. The Serb won 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 in a match frequently disrupted by Parisian fans celebrating Paris Saint-Germain goals in the French Club Champions League final win over Inter Milan. Djokovic is aiming for a record 25 Grand Slam title. With Sports Update, Suleiman Musa, NTA News.
That Sports Update wraps it up on Panorama today. Thanks for watching. Do have a blessed month of June.